Saturday the 31st, just after 12 o'clock. This is Mark and George's attempt to do 500 miles to qualify for the Azores and back race. There's Marky Boy sailing. Hello. I'm George. It's also the first day of Cows Week, so there's an awful lot of boats in the Solent. So the plan for today is to go up to Yarmouth, meet up with Carolina, another Contessa 32, and have a cup of tea and then head away and do our qualifier, which is roughly 300 or so miles out into the western approaches and then back again, probably stopping somewhere in the West Country. The weather looks like it's going to be quite settled, mostly westerlies, bit of northwesterly hopefully, which will help us. Around 10 to 15 knots certainly forecast for the next few days, so it's going to be a long beat, probably reasonably civilised in that sort of breeze, and that'll see us hopefully making our way up the channel out into the western approaches. Anything to say, Mark, at this stage?
Well, you know, not really. Just loving the dream at the moment. Give us wind and a fair voyage. So here we are, just bouncing off cows, just gone past the Stream 40s, picking up some more people. Right now, look at the cows. Sorry? Not bad for waste management. Yeah. There's the radar bits and gubbins. Well, there we are. Behind us is the Needles, and there's Wendy, the wind pilot, steering us nicely.
Say hello, Wendy.
Say hello, Wendy.
Hello.
And there's Mark, sheltering from the spray. It's a bit bumpy. We've just left out through the Needles channel, and it was up to about 26, 28 knots of breeze, but that was with the tide pushing us right into it. Now we're out in the into the channel. There's a bit less tide, and the wind has dropped down to about 23 knots. But there's still some reasonably large swells coming in, which are making us bounce around a fair amount. So I dare say we'll have some lunch at some point soon. Move the camera around there so you're not facing right to the sun. Oh,
I might
probably heard that. That was a big load of spray. So we're trying to do our best to keep out the water. Let's put our life jackets on really. Now we're out here. So yeah, that's where we are. It's actually nice and sunny. We could do with just a slightly little bit less wind. We've quite well rolled down with 2 reefs in the main. But we're quite comfortable, so it's all good. It is 10 o'clock at night on Saturday night. I've just taken over a watch. Mark is asleep. We've just tacked on to port, so we're, in theory, we're heading down the channel, but at the moment we're only pointing about 350, which is not great. I think the tide is well in effect now. We've got about a knot and a half of tide against us, which isn't brilliant, but never mind. The wind has dropped a little bit, about 15 knots apparent, so that's probably 11 or so true. 2 reefs in the main still, just because we couldn't be bothered to take them out. We don't really need to go any faster. I've let a bit of genoa out now, so that's just very slightly reefed. And we're trundling along quite nicely. Certainly the boat is doing boat speed, even if the tide is holding us back a little bit and pushing us north a touch. But there we go. I'm going to have a fiddle with the sails and see if I can get us to point up a wee bit more. But for the time being, that's us. Hello, right, well it is Sunday afternoon. It's 2:30 and we're finding ourselves part of the way across Lyme Bay. It's taking a long time to go west at the moment because the wind is directly on the nose and there's not a huge amount of it at the moment. We've got probably about 9 knots or so, 8-9 knots. Carolina is one of the boats which is just around us here. There's 2 or 3 boats just near us. I can't quite work out which one is them, but I'm pretty certain one of them is. Mark and I both suffered a little bit from mal de mer, although I think I'm mostly past it. Mark is still suffering a little bit. But hopefully the seas are pretty flat now, so it shouldn't be a major concern for either of us. Wendy, the wind pilot's doing very well still. There she is. Still going strong. So, I don't know where we'd be without that little bit of kit. Probably burning a lot of batteries, running the electric autopilot. So that was an excellent piece of kit.
Been a smashing day today, just going backwards and forwards along pretty much the same tack line. It will take a few miles to the west and then back on yourself to the east.
What day is it, Mark?
It's still Sunday, the 1st of August. It's just coming to the last 20 minutes of my last 4-hour watch for the day. So it's 20 to 10. And yes, Gordon Ramsay made a fleeting appearance tonight and cooked us beef bourguignon, which was really nice. George didn't like the mushrooms though, but you know, that's fine. Extra mushrooms for me.
Result. And if we look over here, so you can see the bright light over there, that's Carolina. So we're in reasonably good company. So yeah, we're actually making reasonable progress now. It's still wind on the nose, but it's due to go around to the northwesterly in the next couple of days. Hopefully sort of tomorrow sometime, which will be much easier for us and much more favourable for us. So we're continuing with our existing plan of sailing along the coast, beating down the channel, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully some fairer breeze. That's it for now.
Ta-ta.